I used to have a Harbor Freight Sandblaster that occupied that space right there. The Harbor Freight Sandblasters kind of work when you get them. There's about $700, $800, $900 worth of modifications you can do to make them work properly. So I sold that thing. I'm done with it. And I bought this. It's a Harbor Freight Sandblaster. And it has pretty much every modification on it that I would have done. It's got the feed thing down there, a regulator, electrical box, the lights have been replaced. The plastic shield has been replaced with a glass one. It has a self-contained vacuum system on it. I'm going to get it unloaded out of here and maybe give it a try today. I don't really care for all the stupid decals all over it. I did have to get it onto my dolly all by myself. That was a chore. But I think it'll roll right out of here. It has a nice foot pedal. Some sort of upgraded gloves. 3 lights. 3 halogen lights. Oh no, these are LEDs or halogen? I don't know. Some sort of upgraded blast gun and a blower. The original plexiglass and a spare glass window. One thing the guy didn't do that I bought this from was seal it properly, so I'm going to turn it on and see where baking soda, which is what he used it for. He said he used it once to do some carburetors and it worked good. But I'm going to see where the baking soda comes flying out and seal it up. I think I have all of that stuff cleaned out of here now. And all the stickers that were put on it are off. They all came off pretty easy except for there was one paper one up here that took a little while. Here's a little update on this new, to me, Harbor Freight Sandblaster. The other day I plugged it all in to test it out and it had a leak inside there. This regulator right here was mounted over here. So I tried to adjust it and I turned the handle on the top and the thing just exploded on me. I think it might have been me because I didn't know to pull the knob up. I was just trying to turn it and the thing just disintegrated. So I bought this, which has a couple of water traps and a regulator here. So I'm going to test it out with this. I hope it works. Plug this guy in. So I barely have any pressure going through this, and you can hear the leak in there. So I need to check it out. Turn the light on. Wow, that's bright. Oh, you can see lots of residual baking soda blowing around in there. So the leak, the gun is on. Even though the foot pedal, I think the foot pedal maybe needs some work. Yeah, what I thought was a leak back there is not. It was just this gun was pointing over there and blowing the baking soda. Wow, there's still a lot in there. I'm surprised. I cleaned this thing out the other day. I think there was a bunch in this tube. No leak over there. It's just blowing out the gun because the foot pedal's not functioning properly. Looks like I have a leak here where the dude didn't put Teflon tape on this fitting. I don't hear any leaks over here. I'll fix that one first. The previous owner did some pretty nice stuff to that cabinet. I don't know why you go through all that effort and don't tape all of these fittings. Those leaks are all fixed. I taped all these fittings. And now, let's see what kind of pressure this thing can hold. I think I'm starting to hear a leak. I'll have to get back to that. There's a tiny leak somewhere. I'll have to spray some soapy water on there. Now, back to this. Yeah, this kind of sucks because plugging that in, the foot pedal's not doing anything. This has been a fun job. I could not break this fitting loose. I finally have it. the fitting is destroyed. I think this thing was seized in there really bad, like stainless to stainless maybe. I don't know if brass does that, but it's coming off finally. Alright, got it off. Hopefully I can fix the valve or the switch now. Here's what's inside that foot switch. That seal right there certainly doesn't look like it's sitting proper. I found this fix on the internet. I'm going to add a washer right here, which apparently will put more pressure on this seal. That shoulder right there is not big enough to keep this seal in place. I had to barely file a 5/16 flat washer to get it on that shaft. I'm going to reassemble this thing. I'm going to flip this guy over because it got kind of whacked out from being in like that. I put a little O-ring lube on the O-rings, so I'm going to reassemble this thing and hopefully it'll work. I think I figured out why it was so hard to get these fittings out of this thing. These are not tapered threads. They used some sort of adhesive pipe sealant on these things. I'm going to try to get it to work with Teflon tape. Hopefully it'll work good enough I can at least test this thing out, because this is very unken-like. I'm putting this this wiped out fitting back in here because I don't have another one to replace it with at the moment, and I want to test this stupid thing out. I think this is a crap design. I already put this fitting in here once. I turned it all the way down and it bottoms out on this blue painted bracket before it bottoms out inside this fitting in here, and I'm sure that's why they use that weird pipe dope they used, because you got to get it to seal without really being able to tighten it all the way. I can't find my pipe dope. I put a ton of Teflon tape on here, and I'm going to hope that this seals at least enough to see if this thing works. It's the same deal on this fitting, which is the stock air hose and fitting that came on this pedal assembly, but I put a ton of Teflon tape on here, so I'm going to thread it in there and hope it works. Looks like I lose on this one. Hook that thing up and it's still leaking. It's like half working now. It won't shut off. I don't know what else to do to this thing. One more try here. This seal needs to come down and seal on this surface. The washer that I put in there was too big, blocking the seal so it couldn't make contact. So now I have another smaller OD washer I'm going to try. Back to reassembly on this. It looks like my persistence paid off, by golly. Now I have a foot pedal actuated sandblaster. I gotta clean this thing out again. Then I can put some sandblasting media in there and give it a try. I think I'm done with this thing for now. I'm going to make a 2x4 foot pedal so it's a little more comfortable. Let's see what else is going on here. I had to take, I think this thing's possessed. I had to take this thing off because it was cycling off and on, off and on. And I even went over there and switched it off, and it still kept cycling off and on, off and on. It still feels hot. It overheated. There's something wrong with this VivoSun fan controller. So we come over here and we've got some extra power outlets. Flip it on. Air blower. This hose in here is extremely stiff. I may have to find something to replace it with. I've yet to test out this tip to see if it does what it's supposed to do. I think tomorrow I'm going to come in with some caulk and caulk all the seams. It seems to be not really leaking much. I got a little spot right here where some stuff is coming out. but it seems fairly airtight. I'm anxious to give this thing a try. I hope it works real good. Oh, and I think I will just want to cut a piece of hardboard to go on this thing to keep these holes from filling up with media, and this little shelf thing right here. I was just doing some cleanup here and I picked up a little friend, Black Widow. I was really expecting to bring this thing home and use it, not have to spend about 6 hours fixing things, reworking things, rebuilding foot pedals, retaping everything that the previous owner did, all these guys, everything, those, that one, lots of fun.